Hello trainers, and welcome to the making of the thumbnail for date night number 8 with Tandemaus. This was a holiday special one. It is based on the concept of different ways to celebrate the holidays, different ways to reach out to loved ones, and honestly, with the time that it came out for this year for the public edit, I think it was pretty well timed, all things considering. So the drawing, I wanted them to definitely be a bit snuggly, because Tandemaus is kind of depicted as like a couple. And then when it evolves, it becomes more like a family. So there's also a little bit of like hopes of family and different ways that families come together in the episode, be it born family or found family. For the main outlines, I started with the left side mouse, and then I'm just going to copy and reflect over, because as you see with the reference, they are almost exactly identical, save for the fur pattern, which, fun fact, I didn't actually see the fur pattern until I started doing the thumbnail, because every image I see of Tandemaus is typically on my phone, and those images are small, and the white and off blue were so easy for my brain to glaze over. But thankfully it's a very simple design, so it was very easy to slap it into my already drawn thing. I think the design is way cuter with this pattern. It's like, oh, it's a better design than I thought. Because I like the two puzzle pieces, even though oddly the way the pieces are, I would think that like one mouse would have the extended circle outside of the block rather than both of them having the cut in to the block, because then that way they're actually fitting pieces. But I don't know, maybe there's something in the family form, maybe the baby has that and I just haven't noticed yet. So as you see there, I got it copied and flipped over, and the back ears didn't quite fit. I tweaked with it a bit, tried just mushing together what I had, compared it to the drawing. It's like, how far off is it really? Because I would rather have the hands more properly line up than trying to tweak those to fit. It's easier to fix something that's further on its own in the background than something so detailed in the forefront. So I just started expanding the ears, because they're very big, round, mousy ears. So I just basically shifted the angle, if anything, so they're not quite as squished together, but still modestly touching and pushing each other back. And then I will add the tiny little lines, the kind of fur demarcations, I guess you could say. And then it says, as easy as that. Simple little fix. This took me about 2-ish hours, but like half of it was the mice, and then once again the other half was more doing little bits of experiments. But we'll get to that when we get to that. For now, we're doing the easiest part, which is I'm going to start calling the coloring book phase, where I have all my outlines, and now it's just a matter of coloring it. And very obviously, I have replaced the white with my Ditto Pink, because it is the majority color, and it's the easiest one to replace it with. Now, the reason why I didn't do the coloring before I did the copy and flip over is because of that very reason, with the problem of the ears, as you saw. Because if I did like the entire mouse and then flipped it only to find that the ear wasn't done right, well then that's God knows how long amount of time and finagling that I now have to do even more. It is far easier to just simply do the line art and maybe some minor details, and then it's way easier to fix than absolutely everything all at once. So again, the mischievous design that I had not noticed before. Just very simple, easy to just bloop, plop it back in there. Again, as you see, that's kind of what I mean with the cut-in circles. It's like, I feel like more so if the design had the gray-blue sticking out a bit, it would feel more like interlocking puzzle pieces, but who knows? That's my design idea. So with the background, I took the original colors, but since it is a Christmassy themed episode, I kind of took advantage of the colors and made it look kind of like a snowy background. for that winter feeling, and then white for the heart, because obviously it's white. And then I cheated a little bit, and it's like, well, there's black in their eyes, so I can use black for the lettering. And it worked out. And then I use a method that I had recently learned, which is the drop shadow effect in paint.net. I very recently was taught it, and I have been using it ever since. And then I tried putting the DDD, but it's like I wasn't quite sure where I wanted to put it, so I actually set it aside and I move on to my next little detail idea that I did not sketch out, but I am now going to experiment with freehand, because I don't freehand that often. Like, I draw with a mouse, ironically, but I usually at least do a pencil sketch first, so I know what I'm outlining and it's much easier. But I wanted to try to start leveling up my freehand skills a little bit, so I started with a bow and a batch of mistletoe. Now, I already know right off the bat that, like, this ribbon doesn't really make sense with how it's tied up. It would be, if anything, at least the tails of the bow should be a lot thicker, like that reference there, but it's okay. We'll hand wave it. And then for the mistletoe itself, did a couple layers of different greens with the sticks. They're pretty basic branch shape. So I did it with the lighter color and then a darker color, kind of having that soft layered effect. And then I will work on the leaves, because it has those nice long leaves. And then I will again use the drop shadow effect, not only to add some shadowing, like kind of some cheat shadowing, but also to give it more of the depth, which, like, go hand in hand, but, you know. So yeah, experimenting with it a bit, because with this drop shadow effect, you can make it almost any color, so I made it a darker color. So it's a nice little mix of looking like either shadow from the leaves or extra dark leaves underneath. It gives it that illusion of depth that is a nice little hack. And then adding the little berries. From what I saw, there is a red version, but I went with the more traditional, from what I could tell, white version. I personally don't do mistletoe for my own home. I never followed the tradition, but I wanted to try to go with the more commonly respected one. I had tried putting little black dots for, like, the berry seed bottoms, but I felt like they looked a little too much like eyeballs, so I passed on that, and I just kept them the white with slight off-coloring. And then doing the Ditto Shine, I do make a little mistake, a very common mistake, of not realizing what layer I'm on. So the mouse on the left will lose their eyelashes for a hot minute, but I do spot it at the end after I'm done in my glorious shine. But doing the soft translucent white and then just taking a translucent eraser and wiping it away, it's still honestly my favorite method. I feel like I have a bit more control, and I really like the effect that it does. I've been a little more mindful of cleaning up the ends, because with the paintbrush stroke, it causes very curvy ends, which does work with, like, the more round surfaces, but there are some times where it's a very straight, hard surface, like an antler or a horn, and the curve doesn't quite make sense, so I've been trying to be a little more mindful on where to allow the curls and not. With the hands, I will be erasing that shine and putting it back on top, trying to be a little more faithful to the light source, and also it, in the end, made a lot more of a dynamic composition on the hands, which I really liked. Yeah, emphasizing each little paw fingy. And cleaning all that up. Yeah, and as you can see, I accidentally erased some of the left mouse eyelashes, but there's still some there, so it was very easy to just replace, and they don't have to be absolutely identical, otherwise I would have copy-pasted the inner ear fluff of the back ears, but they can have a little bit of differences, you know. then smacking the DDD logo, and then I'm going to be arranging them for everything to be a little closer because I didn't want everything to feel so spread out. And there you go, that is Tandemaus. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you would like early access to such things or to have access to the episodes that these are made for, you can subscribe to my Subscribestar or Patreon. And otherwise, I will see you for the next catch. Bye-bye.